it's important that we render the closing keynote to all of you, where the Smart Manufacturing Vision 2030 would be shared, the paradigm shift to the Industry 5.0. That's when we will further discuss in the panel, how do we go about it. So ladies and gentlemen, as we are just setting up the stage, I was trying refreshing my tweets, and it was wonderful to hear that you are having like a worthwhile time at the summit. So I hope the final 2 ones also remain to be worthwhile, after which we're looking forward to interact with all of you. So please still be seated as we welcome our closing keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Senior Director and Center Head, Gandhinagar Center of Excellence, NASSCOM. Please welcome Amit Saluja with a very good round of cheer. Amit, hi. I know you're a little under the weather, but I hope you're doing well, and hats off to your resilience as well. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi. So I think this would be one of the last 2 sessions that we will have. I know we are running late, so I will try to squeeze it down. Maybe I'll take just a few minutes and then do the session. Anyway, we'll have one last panel discussion after this. So, but let me start through smart manufacturing. You're saying smart manufacturing 2030. So we had several sessions over the day today where we heard about what has really happened on the Industry 4.0. It's what kind of technologies we are using, what kind of use case which are extremely important for the organizations. Now let's see on what really we can do. And okay, so this is a slide which basically it really summarizes where are we today, and I think this will relate to a lot of you, the current situation that we have. So if you see where are we now, so I think in every organizations, if you are from a large manufacturing companies, every organizations, you have the digital infrastructure in place. We have all the field devices, sensors, and everything. This is given. Every manufacturing plant has now the devices which basically is transmitting the data. There are dashboards which are there, which are getting presented. The challenge basically is that in most of the situations that at least we are seeing from an NASSCOM, that we have actually met a lot of manufacturers in the last few years, and there is always a situation that we are seeing that there's a lot of those Industry 4.0 projects are done from a short-term point of view, not from a strategic, like next 3 to 5 years of a point of view. So that's the one area that we felt. I think from a future perspective, I think that's where we have to really focus on. Then from the questions that, or where the enterprises are struggling, what kind of help that enterprises needs is basically from a COVID, it has really taught us that new constraints will keep on coming. So now how do we prepare ourselves to manage these new constraints? So the problems that we were having, like the supply chain issues, increased a lot. We had labor issues which were never there earlier, and it has kind of escalated a lot. So new constraints will keep on coming. So how do we prepare for those new constraints? Flexible manufacturing, that's really is getting into the next state of the organizations from Industry 4.0 point of view. How good are we in changing our manufacturing setups if there is a new product that needs to be manufactured? Right? So how flexible are we in adopting our systems or changing our systems for the new products that we will make? Then from a technologies point of view, I think every manufacturing companies has a lot of challenges. Now you really need to see how do we validate it. Correct? So some place you always keep thinking that, whether this technology will work for the use case or not. So what is the way forward to validate whether the use cases will work, whether the technology will work for that use case or not? And the last thing is, how do I leverage the startup ecosystem? I think this is what has become a kind of a very important element of the Industry 4.0. There are a lot of situations where multiple standalone challenges are there where startups can play a huge role. Right? So that's the one question that everyone is trying to figure out. Not everyone has worked with the startups. And And there is a way to work with the startups, because while the startups are strong, but there is, they always comes with certain kind of a challenges also. So now, this is an approach basically, so which basically is the lead framework. Under this framework, like these are the 4-step transformation strategy, which basically we are talking about. First step is basically the learn. Under learn is building digital capabilities in the organization. And this is not just where the leadership team is skilled about the digitization. I think a lot of times the initiatives fail because at a lower level, people are not enough trained. So there has to be a complete talent development program or the skill development program at an organization level. That's where a lot of these initiatives will succeed. Then the next step is basically evaluate, which is basically evaluate from a current digital maturity. So what are the current processes? How mature are they? What kind of an infrastructure we are currently using? So it's more of doing a deep dive assessment of where are we? And because that will really help in building a technology roadmap. Then is the architect, basically, which comes the road mapping part of it. Now, what happens is most of the time is basically you straight away when you are building a digital roadmap, the assessment piece or the current evaluation piece gets missed out, and which is why many of the times initiatives gets done, which doesn't always leads to a result. And then finally, from a deliver point of view, there has to be a strategy where you are working with a large technology solution providers and also from a startup. So that's the change in the plan. Basically, we basically suggest that you should have. Now let me talk about an assessment framework. So this framework was developed by the Singapore Economic Development Board, which is a SIRI framework. You can Google about it. And they had developed basically by working with McKinsey and few other consultants. And this is a very comprehensive way to analyze the organization processes from a infrastructure point of view, organization structure point of view, the processes which are there. So to analyze those processes from a holistic point of view. And this basically will help you understand where you stand right now, what are your current gaps are there from a digitization point of view. And this also basically, once you do the assessment, it also helps you benchmarking with some of the other global companies who have implemented these kind of who have basically undergone the assessment. So that way it is, and if you see the different areas that gets covered under this assessment it really covers the end-to-end processes of the organization. So that's the one framework basically I'll suggest. Next thing is what happens, so once you do the assessment, this is a process where a framework where it will help you to build the digital roadmap or a technology roadmap. Now, how do you do it? First step is basically you do the current level of an assessment. You get to know where you stand on each of the processes. Then you basically come up with your cost profile. So in an organization where your costs are more, like we always keep talking about ROI, so that's the way it basically answers a lot of those ROI questions. So you do an assessment of whether you have a high labor cost, you have a high rework cost, high material cost, high utility cost, administrative cost, where the cost is going in the plants. Third thing is basically the organization KPIs from a long-term point of view. So basically 3 to 5 years of a horizon. What are your long-term priorities which are there? And then the framework, basically the framework which I talked about, SIRI framework, it also considers the benchmarking with respect to the similar companies in the other parts of the world. And then based on this, from an analytical model, the recommendation comes up. That basically will help you to prioritize. It will give you recommendations on, say, what should be your year 1 plan, year 2 plan, year 3 plan, correct? So that's where it really becomes a structured approach to move forward. So that was about a framework. Now, since I talked about the delivery model also, so that's one kind of a suggestion we have. You really have to work with all different kind of a solution providers. You work with the large technology partners, you work with the consulting partners, plus engage the startups also, because that's where you can do a lot of more projects within your organization, because there will be a lot of, in fact, you can also do a lot of POCs also. So the advantage of working with the startups is the costs are less, they are more innovative, they are more flexible. So that way, you will have more opportunity to validate new ideas by working with the startups. And then once you validate the ideas, then you can always later on decide now the full-scale deployment, whether it has to be through a startup or through a regular large technology partner, right? So that basically will help you to understand what are the different use cases where it will really help. So a lot of those questions of ROI basically will get addressed here in this case. So this is an example where the suggestion is for all the large enterprise level projects, you should always go with a established partner, regular technology partners, but the point blank solutions, which are very specific solutions, like for example, a computer vision based solution is there, or it could be a paperless factory. So these are very simple solutions which can really be validated through working with these startups. I think I already covered it, so in the interest of time, I'll kind of skip it. But this slide basically essentially covers what is the value that startups add to the overall development projects that you are driving within your organization. So, so these are few elements. Now, just very briefly on what we do. So, NASSCOM COE basically is an initiative from Government of India, and it has been established to support the manufacturing digitization in the country. So we are building an ecosystem where manufacturing companies works with the different kind of solution providers, with the research organizations, because there are a lot of areas where you really need to think of a new way of solving a problem. So that way, we have built this overall ecosystem where we are enabling the manufacturing companies on starting the digitization journey. This is basically for the companies who have not moved forward as of now. Now, for the companies who already have progressed a lot, for them, if there is any specific problem that you are facing, then in that case also we can basically help you in bringing the right startups who can actually work with you. So that's basically we are doing. So if you see the different areas where we work upon, is the thought leadership. So this session is a part of that thought leadership. We are doing startup factory. So basically we are connected with 600 startups across the country who are working in the manufacturing domain. Digital maturity assessment, which I already talked about, Siri framework. So in case, you would like to get it done, so we can always kind of help you there. And then the co-creation of the solutions by working with the startups is the other area. And then we have also created a platform, which is a virtual platform, Smart Manufacturing Competency Center. That's a platform where different kind of industry 4.0 solutions are being showcased in an AR platform. So you can go in and then see different kind of solutions that can help the manufacturing leaders. So one of the flagship program that we are running is the Manufacturing Innovation Challenge. Under this, large manufacturing companies, the problem that they have, one problem, they can give it to us, and this basically we can post it at a national level, a challenge, where startups across the country apply for the challenge, and it goes through a 2 months of an evaluation process. And the advantage is basically you get to choose the best of the startups from the country who have a right solutions for the problem that you are facing. So here are some numbers on how many companies who have taken benefits, how many startups who have participated, and the program benefits. Now this is a very specific program which is there for the SMEs. This is for companies whose revenues is 1,000 crore and below, and who has not started the digitization journey. It is for those companies. We can help you suggest few things which will basically you will be able to kickstart your digital journey, and then you will be able to at least adopt 1 or 2 solutions. So it's just only giving you an initial kickstart. After that, I think you will be able to take it forward on your own. So I think that's it from me. I really rushed through in the interest of a time, but thank you for listening it to me. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And yeah, if anyone needs any help, so we can always reach out to us. Thank you.